I'm Christy and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you've never been here before. And today I'm here with a book haul. I have some new books from the mail, as well as I went on a little road trip over the past week and we hit up some used bookshops. So first up, my copy of Up All Night with a Good Duke by Amy Rose Bennett finally showed up. I pre-ordered this one. I read an arc of it and really loved it. It is a new historical romance and the first book in a new series by this author. So in this one, the heroine is a finishing school teacher by day and a gothic romance writer by night. Ends up becoming her romance with the hero. He is a duke, he is widowed and a single father to a teenage daughter. And I love this one. I love the conversations and discussions between the couple. I liked her conversations with his daughter. Just a really great romance, and I highly recommend this one. It was one of my favorites of the year so far, and I gave it 5 stars. Next, I have an arc of Sarah MacLean's new book, Heartbreaker, the second book in her Hell's Bells series. We do get the couple on the back there. And this one I actually won in a Goodreads giveaway. I read everything that Sarah MacLean writes. I've read her entire backlist and I'm excited for this new book. This one is out on August 23rd. Next, I have Praise by Sarah Kate. This is the first book in her Salacious Players Club. I've read this one already. Love this entire series. This is a romance between the heroine and her ex-boyfriend's dad. So it's got that age gap. The hero runs a BDSM/kink club with his friends. Yeah, so it has some praise kink in here and all of that going on. And this one, I actually won a copy of it on Instagram through one of those like your wish list giveaway things. So yeah, I'm excited to have this one for my shelves. Next up, I have The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This was my July pick from Book of the Month. I've read quite a few of Catherine Center's books in the past and have really enjoyed. I'm actually reading this one right now and I'm really loving it. So it is the romance between the heroine is the bodyguard and the hero is an actor, and she's hired to, with her team, like follow and protect him. He is back in his hometown in Texas. He doesn't want his family to know that he has like a stalker out there and needs a bodyguard. So he has the heroine pose as his girlfriend instead of his bodyguard when they're around his family. So yeah, so far it's a lot of fun. Next, I ended up buying the Dusty Shops dust jackets for SJM's Throne of Glass series. This is the prequel, The Assassin's Blade. I love all the shiny on these and the artwork. Then of Throne of Glass, the first book in the series. Shiny and the cool castle on the back. Book 2, Crown of Midnight. Love the gold on this one. And then the back. An Heir of Fire. This one's really pretty. Love the gold. Love Manon on the back there. Next is Queen of Shadows, book 4, one of my favorites in the series. I love how dark this one is. Super cool. Next, book 5, Empire of Storms. Again, the gold there. And then more characters on the back. Then book 6, Tower of Dawn, much better cover than the original. Love the shiny gold. And then that on the back as well. Just love that moment on that cover. And then the last book in the series, Kingdom of Ash. My favorite in the series just because of everything that built up to this point. Love that moment. Yeah, I love how all of these look. All the shiny covers. So next I have some historical romances that I got in the mail. Give Me Tonight by Lisa Kleypas. I got this one in the mail. I purchased it, I think, from like thrift books, so it's definitely torn up and has seen better days, but this is one of Lisa Kleypas's like original 4 books that she had published that are no longer in print, and I am so glad to have this one on my shelves. Then I just got this book in from the publisher. This is Julianne Long's You Were Made to Be Mine. This is the newest book in her Palace of Rogues series. I believe it's the 5th book. I've read this entire series. The last few books in particular have been my favorites, and I'm excited to read this one. Then, as I just showed in the previous clip, I was at like Value Village or a thrift store and got this gorgeous copy of Castles in the Air by Christina Dodd. And this is a super popular cover because the heroine, as you can see, has 3 arms. Christina Dodd has a really funny story on her like website about this story of how this cover came to be, how it passed across multiple people's, desks at the time and nobody ever noticed until I think she was at like a romance writers signing or like retreat situation, and like one of her fans brought it up and was like, hey, like that's so hilarious, like that the lady has 3 arms. And yeah, it kind of blew her mind because she was like, wait, what? And then she had never realized it. She had like a giant poster of it behind her office and all of that, and so it just kind of became a gag and she just kind of leaned into it. But it did get a new cover, so this one is kind of hard to find. Actually did read this one a couple years back. It is like medieval, set during like 1160s in England. It dropped you right into the action. Like the heroine is thrown from a horse and the hero ends up taking off with her. So in this, the heroine is a widowed single mother. She's kind of tired of all the men in her life, obviously of the times, like controlling her life, telling her what to do. But she's actually an heiress. So she has like 2 castles and a lot of land. So the king wants to marry her off to one of his knights, which is the hero. So in this, the hero actually finds himself unworthy of like love and getting married. He was captured and enslaved during the Crusades, and now back at home, he doesn't think he's marriage material, let alone like being a landowner and in charge of like all these tenants. So when they first meet, the heroine actually assumes that the hero is the new castle builder who's there to like build a castle for her. So he decides to at first go along with it, kind of find out more about this reluctant bride and like her lands and people, which of course, you know, things get more complicated once the actual castle builder shows up. As this book was published during the early 1990s, it definitely has that dated vibe with a lot of heavy content. There's definitely kidnapping in here, being captured and tortured and enslaved. There's talk of rape and sexual violence, abuse from parents, and just lots of trauma from both the hero and heroine's pasts. So in this one, I was left wanting kind of more romance from the couple and less of kind of about what was going on around them, like all of the side characters and things like that. I did really like the hero with the heroine's children though. That was fun to see. It was also fun seeing the heroine's input on this castle building situation of like, you know, her having new radical ideas of like where the kitchen should be and everybody kind of being flabbergasted by her, you know, totally out there ideas. Definitely an older style romance read, but of course I only bought this for that 3-armed maiden cover. So next, on our recent camping trip, we went out of town. We went 4 hours away. And so on our road trip, we hit up some of the used bookshops along the way and I found some books. I'm gonna be inserting some videos of that bookshop. It was filled like floor to ceiling, books everywhere, and just like book shopping paradise. As you just saw from those videos, that shop was just filled with books everywhere. That is definitely my type of style of used bookstore to search in, because like you never know what you're going to find around every corner. And I ended up getting 5 books from there. So the first is A Summer to Remember by Mary Balog. This is one of the prequels for her Bedouin Saga series, which I read the Bedouins at the beginning of this year and loved them. And so I definitely want to get to the prequels. So I was definitely excited to find some Tessa Dare there. Her Spindle Cove series, for whatever reason, the step backs for these are really hard to find nowadays. And so this was the last one that I needed to complete all of my step backs for her. So this is A Lady by Midnight. There is the step back. I'm excited to have this one now on my shelves and have all of Tessa Dare's step backs. Next is Storm Winds by Iris Johansen. This was definitely a step back Saturday buy. I love that close-up moment of the couple. The hero kind of has like those vampire vibes with like the cape and everything. But yeah, I've been searching for this one for a while. It says it's set in 18th century France. Not sure when or if I'll read it, but I definitely wanted it for the gorgeous cover and step back. And then the next 2 books, I actually end up already having copies of them, but I am totally that girl who buys better editions or like first editions of books when I find them. So this is The Outlaw and the Lady by Lorraine Heath. I actually just read this book this month. This is the first book in her Daughters of Fortune series. I already had a copy of this book. This is actually like a 6th edition, but it does have the step back on the back. But as you can see on this edition, it has that raised gold lettering, and this is actually a 1st edition. Yeah, I'm totally that girl who buys editions of books I already have if they're like better copies or if they are 1st editions like this. Same thing with the next book. This is An Invitation to Seduction by Lorraine Heath. This is the 4th book in her Daughters of Fortune series. Again, I already had a copy of it. This one has that raised gold lettering. This one just is flat. This one is like a 4th edition, and this one is now a 1st edition. So not sure if anybody else cares about that, but it's something that I really care about when I'm collecting books, especially for favorite authors like that. Lorraine Heath is one that I have all of her books, and so when I can find 1st editions or better looking copies than the ones I have, I do grab them. Thanks so much for watching my book haul video. I had some new books, some giveaway wins, some used books, and then of course some dust jackets for one of my favorite series. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books or maybe what your most recent book haul was. And if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I'll see you in my next one.